I don't know where we're going. I don't even know where this garage is. I just sold my Porsche 997. And bought something very different. My 94 E320, the W124. I've always wanted an older Benz. I found this car on Marketplace and it was a perfect blank canvas to start with. I've got to fix a bunch of things on this car, but I would like to change the way it looks first. We'll get to that in a bit. Selling my 911 for this thing may not make any sense to you, but there's a method to my madness. Hop in. Let me tell you a little bit about myself. I'm John Quay, and I'm out here driving. I paint high-end cars at a body shop in New York. The story doesn't start there, my dude. It all began back in 2009. Graduating high school with the decision to work and buy a brand new Volkswagen GTI or to work to go to college. I chose the car, which looking back at is insane. Within a year or so, I went to a tech school for automotive technology, and I ended up dropping out after one semester. To be honest, I had no idea what to do with my life back then. Shortly after that, I got rid of the GTI and I bought a 98 BMW 328 Cabrio in Hell Rot Red. That car needed a lot of work. It looked like it was halfway through repair and they left the windows down for a year. From that moment on, I spent my free time taking that car apart, fixing it little by little, putting it back together, and styling it to my own personal taste. And I had no idea what I was doing back then. Over the years, I learned if I want something bad enough for myself, I'll figure out how to do it myself. The painting began by spray bombing wheels, random car parts, and bicycles in my mom's driveway. Working at a restaurant, not making enough money for car parts, I got myself a better paying job prepping truck caps at a factory. Sanding fiberglass all day to the point where my hand felt like it was gonna fall off. Working my way up from prep to repairs and finally to paint. Production painting doesn't exactly put the quality first. It was basically just getting the paint on the panel as fast as possible and on to the next one. Run with a paint gun and spray. By 2015, my girlfriend had left the small town we were living in to get a job in New York City. And of course, I followed. So I made the jump and landed in Brooklyn. I got a job at a body shop, the type of body shop that lets cats out at night as a form of pest control. With the need to upgrade our living situation of living in a shoebox for an apartment, I randomly applied to a Ferrari dealership one day. At the interview, I showed them a picture of my E36 M3 and all the work I had done to it. I told them I restored old BMWs. What a lie. They told me I was overqualified to be washing cars, so they handed me an address to a body shop. Pulling up to the address, I see several cars I had never seen in person before. They blew my mind, and I had to sit down with the boss. And again, I showed them pictures of my E36 M3. But this time I didn't say I restored cars. I just told him I did this for fun. And I suppose he saw something in me because I got the job. He decided to have me do quality control, spending my days checking every nook, cranny, and function of everything from a Bentley to a Bugatti. Working my way up to management, I asked the boss if I could do something I truly enjoy. Painting. There's so much that can go wrong doing a paint job to the highest standard, but if you pull it off, it's the most gratifying feeling. If you stick around, I'll show you a couple of my tricks. I'll walk right past the supercar nonsense any day to take one of these. I was hyped to do a full color change on this one. For me, I love it. They say the mind of a perfectionist is always in pain. With my brain overanalyzing any and all details, pressed in by the quality control position, and my robot arm acquired from painting at a factory for years, it was the perfect match. I'm hyped to take this skill set to my new project and my old project. I wouldn't call either of them builds just yet. I feel like you at least gotta swap an engine to call it a build. We're not there yet. The way I look at it, the old BMWs I've owned, especially the orange M3, were my form of education. I used that car to get a job in New York twice, and I learned a lot from that car. It was the first car I painted back in 2014. I painted it ink orange, and it came out terrible. In 2017, I molded a wide body to the car. I also repainted the entire car to my new standards at the time. Back in the day, I would always post pictures on forums. You know, build threads. But sadly at this time, forums were dying, so I didn't capture much of this car. But I'll save the full story for another video on another day. I'll be completely restoring that car to my new standard. It never stops. The ball never stops rolling. Leaving the M3 behind in a shed far, far away in PA, and working with cars I had only ever seen on Top Gear, I had my sights on a new car, the Porsche 997. I was on the hunt for a Carrera 4S. Either way, I was gonna have wide body. In 2020, I came across a super clean 2007 Arctic Silver on Black Carrera 4 6-speed manual transmission with sport chrono, and I made moves. At last, finally owning a Porsche 997. Everything they say about it is true, with the steering feeling telepathic, blah blah blah. But there was a problem. It looked like this. The first task at hand was to remove the tints. Some cars don't need to hide their interior. Taking it back to my younger self in my mom's driveway, I restore the calipers to speed yellow with stenciled black letters. Going back to your roots after years of progressing is a special feeling. Originally, I planned to upgrade and swap these calipers and put them on the M3, so I didn't bother taking them off the car. As I would have done back in the day in PA, I grabbed plastic wrap out of the kitchen to wrap up the car, preventing anything from landing on the wet clear coat. And then to paint the wheels silver. I am no fan of black wheels on a car. I made a few sloppy renders to get a feel for how I wanted the car to look. My obsession for 3-piece wheels was put on hold. For whatever reason, I don't think they look right on a 997. The 19-inch Turbo Twist by Augment Wheel Company was my top choice, but not 100% on them. I sat on the idea. Finally, with the look decided, in came the coilovers, down went the Porsche. Out went the 18s, in came the 19s. With small bits for the rear, like gloss black Carrera 4 emblems, quad exhaust tips from the Carrera S, and a planned rear turbo bumper. And for my favorite part, a 997 turbo front bumper, shaving the fog lights that I hated so much the correct way. I had never plastic welded before, and I used this opportunity to learn how. I loved how simple it looked, as if the 997 had the same cosmetic upgrades as the 996 4S. Happy with the aesthetics so far. 20,000 miles and 3 years go by, and I still don't know what wheels to put on the car. Aside from needing a new starter, nothing was wrong with that car. Drove it all the way down to Savannah, Georgia. Drove back on the Blue Ridge Parkway and tailed the Dragon. It was driving perfection. And oddly enough, I got bored of the car. No need to chop it up, nothing to fix, and no idea what wheels I wanted to put on it. And yeah, I could have done performance mods to make it more fun to drive, but we all know that's a snowball effect, and if you want to do it correctly, you'll never stop spending money. I started looking back at my old BMW projects. I realized what stimulated my brain the most was a car that I could keep doing something to. And honestly, that's the main reason why I got rid of the 997 for this car. And I wanted a sedan to become the family man. Hi, Stone. The past repeating itself, I sell the perfect car for the old 90s car. A simple Google search will lead you to the generic facts that the W124 was the best saloon car of its time. And with the car at 130,000 miles, I can actually feel that. It drives smoother than any car I've owned. And obviously that's all nice, but my mind always placed the aesthetics first. The details like the retro airliner seatbelt lights staring down the hood ornament, the jumping single wiper, that mid-century-esque interior lined with Zebrano, the Golf T door locks, and the ribbed taillights, to name a few. All the little things you don't see on modern cars that give the car character, a personality.
Again, the bottom line is that when it comes to a Mercedes-Benz, the attention to functional details is one of our strengths.
And yeah, I could have easily gotten another BMW, a sedan, but like I've said, I've always wanted an older Benz.
We use wood on our console. They don't.
And I've always had this idea of having a driveway full of my favorite 90s cars. And yes, it would have made the most sense to buy the 500e. The Mercedes-Benz, touched by Porsche. The big V8, the wide body, it has it all. But that would leave me with nothing to do. So I bought the car that needs touched by me. Know what I mean? I can already see what the car will look like in time. Using the same formula as my M3, with new wide body panels, new wheels, and a different front end in the happening, it's time to get to work. This car smells like gas. Bad. That is gas. That's a problem. Welcome to the mind. And welcome to Club Quay. Next time.